welcome to our Bettery Hub channel. And as I always say, it's Thursdays are the days that I look forward to meet up with you. Thank you so much for joining us for our LifeWorks show this week. And now, one of the most important things that I like to say is LifeWorks show is a show that we bring in individuals who inspire and have actually taken action to put their passion in action. So I think this is where we bring individuals, whether it's about taking action in order for them to actually do something that they aspire to do, their passion. This is the show to be. So thank you and welcome once again. Now, before we move on, I would like to specifically say that for those of you who are tuning into us, thank you so much for joining us for the show. And if, let's say, we are actually going on live, whether you are on our YouTube platform, our Facebook, or LinkedIn, I would like to say that if you're on YouTube, please do remember to subscribe to our page. And if you're on our Facebook or on our LinkedIn, just connect with us. And if you are somebody who believes that or likes to listen podcasts, then we do have our Bettery Hub podcast, where we actually have every single of our live chats being put in our podcast. So please do feel free to go to our Bettery Hub podcast on Spotify and subscribe to us. So without any delays, let me introduce you our today's speaker. Now, our today's speaker is Muhd Zulkifli. Now, he shares his journey today on how he embarked on his entrepreneurship journey to live life by his own design. Now, Zul had spent over a decade of dedicated service with the Singapore Police Force, taking an appointment ranging from a uniformed frontline officer to a task force officer and eventually to a senior investigation officer. Now, for someone who has spent so many years in the forces in uniform, there was a day that he got enlightened and decided to live life by his own design. Zul decided to take action and embark on his passion for entrepreneurship. So currently, he's both in the professional financial services industry, and as well as he's also the co-founder of Fabriques Asia. Now, for those of you who want to know what Fabriques Asia is, definitely, we will get Zul to talk about that more in a bit. Now, with that, let's invite Zul as he share. Hi, Zul.
Hey, hi, Sakti. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, no, it's our pleasure, to have you on our show. Thank you so much for joining us amidst your busy schedule.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure of mine.
Yeah. So how's things at your side, Zul? How's the fresh air? After leaving the forces.
Definitely, I would say that I'm happier.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I get to do things my own way. I get to do things on my own planning, in my own time, in my own design, basically.
Yeah, I can resonate with that. Being in the armed forces for more than 12 years, and then getting the freedom to be out there to do things that I love to do. About 11 years ago, I made the decision about close to 12 now. It's going to be 12, and I can resonate with you how the feeling is. Now, so let's talk about a brief introduction of yourself and the journey behind your current success.
Everyone tuning in, I'm Zulkifli. I was formerly a police officer. Like Sakti mentioned earlier, I was serving in frontline uniform. After that, I went to the task force, which I finally became a senior investigation officer with the Commercial Affairs Department. So I decided to make a career switch, and currently I'm a professional in the financial service industry and also the co-director of Fabriques Asia, which is a men's apparel business.
So Fabriques Asia is a men's apparel business. Okay, cool.
Okay, right. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you're saying, sorry.
Yeah, Fabriques Asia, let me share a bit about Fabriques Asia. Fabriques Asia was earlier run by my partner or my wife, Sally. So basically, what about Fabriques Asia? Fabriques Asia was inspired by our passion to travel and our love of culture. So we travel a lot. So each time we travel around the Asia region or even further, we will take back the cultural influence of that particular state. For example, like Brunei, Japan, Korea. So from there, we implement the cultural influence of that particular country into the menswear that we design ourselves, and so that's where Fabriques Asia comes about.
All right. So, Zul, maybe let's talk about your early days, right? Being in the forces, right? Some learning lessons that made you what you are today. I'm sure there are some things that you picked up over your years of experience that you're actually putting out there as an entrepreneur.
Being from a uniform background, I mean, you would understand yourself that it comes with discipline. So I would say that the discipline continues where even though we are out of the uniform that we are wearing. But one key thing that I remember and I held firmly till now, since my early years in the force, was actually an advice from my dad. His advice was when I first started out in the police force, he told me, he shared with me, compassion is key. All right. You will definitely face rejection. You will be unappreciated. But with the compassion, by putting yourself in their shoe, you'll be able to understand them better and you'll be able to do your work better and serve better. So I held on to that, and till date, even after leaving the uniform, even into my entrepreneurship journey, it was something which I still practice personally for my customers, my clients, or even families around me.
Right. And I'll just take some time to say hi to some of the viewers. Hi, Iskandar, welcome. And we have Naren joining us. Hi, Naren. And for those of you out there who are with us live, just say a hi to Zul. And also, do feel free for all of you guys to just engage Zul with any questions that you have that will be useful for you in terms of his transition. Now, Zul, just a question. Now that we are talking or we talk about your learning lessons, right? Now, let's talk about your current role because you have two roles, right? Now, you are a professional in financial services and then followed by, the co-director of Fabriques Asia. So when you left, right, I think right now with two hats with you. Now, where is your key focus in terms of being an entrepreneur?
My key focus will be a professional in the financial service industry. For Fabriques Asia will be mainly run by my partner or my wife itself. So I will come in for Fabriques Asia more to the creative sides of it and more to marketing sides for Fabriques Asia. But my main role will be as a professional in the financial service industry.
All right. Nice. And hi, Raghu. Thank you for joining us. And we have Muharsat. Thank you for joining us. All right. As I said, just do feel free to engage Zul with any questions that you have as we move on. Now, Zul, the key question, right? It's a very tough decision to leave a stable job, especially civil sector, uniform, and stability is there. You have your income coming in, and then you know what you can expect next. So it's definitely so there must be a key push factor or inspiration that you wanted to actually move ahead. So what inspired you to implement your passion in terms of entrepreneurship into action?
Right. Despite the stability and the fixed income that I was having, I felt a little. I felt a bit stagnant after over a decade of service, and I felt that I needed to go somewhere else in a specific direction. So let me share a little story at this point. Throughout my last couple of years in the service, I witnessed a predicament of an ex-colleague who had served over 30 years of service in the police force. So he joined the force in the mid-80s and subsequently, for the past couple of years, he reached his retirement age. So upon his retirement age, he was not on under any other scheme like a pension scheme or any investment scheme. So all he received was just a note saying thank you for your service. So he's of a retirement age. He has 3 teenage children who are still schooling, and he's the sole breadwinner who's still servicing his house. So at that point of time, it hit me hard, and it really made me wake up as in do I want to be in this current situation? What can I do to improve myself so that I would not end up in such a situation myself? And secondly was that I wanted to make a difference to the people around me, the people, my families and my friends who are close around me, that they will not fall into such a situation themselves. So that was a key factor that really inspired me to take that leap of faith to move on from the service and to where I am now today.
Right. Cool. And we have Jared here. Hi, Jared. Thank you for joining us. Great to see you. And Jared has a question for you, Zul. As an entrepreneur, there are times where you would have, to take certain types of risk. So how do you take calculated risk and keep focused on your end goals? Some key considerations that you usually have.
Basically, as an entrepreneur, there will definitely be certain type of risk for sure. But the calculated, how do I calculate risk is how much, even in the event of a loss, it will not be a greater loss. So, but at the end of the day, I will still reach my end goals without suffering that much loss. So those are the main things that I will really take into consideration when there are certain risk factor that will need to be considered in making my decision as an entrepreneur.
So in this point, Zul, just to go into a bit deeper into Jared's question. So are you talking about when you say calculated risk for yourself, it is more towards your financial side of it because you're getting an income right now? You're taking a leap into entrepreneurship where you need to actually work and get things done before you get an income or a steady flow of revenue, right? So I think is that what you're talking about? To have a calculated risk to actually have certain plans done prior to moving in.
Yes, definitely. Even for myself, prior to making the leap of faith, there was certain preparation that I actually made to ensure that I'm able to sustain myself as I'm going through the transition into to become an entrepreneur.
Cool. Maybe will you be able to share, Zulu, some of the more important preparations that you had done prior to at the point of time you decided, okay, this is it. I've decided to take the leap of faith, and any specific preparation that you want to share with us about?
I think in terms of preparation, the main thing will be financials, because coming from a stable income going into entrepreneurship, there's bound to be the risk is that I may not for the next few months maybe a bit tight on the financial. So after discussing with my partner, my wife, what I prepared was that I ensured that prior taking prior to making my move, I prepared financially that I was able to sustain myself for the next couple of months. There was enough
Backup.
funds for me to backup for me to sustain to service the house, to put food on the table for the next couple of months, and even for the utilities bills. So that was one of the factors that I really put into consideration before making the decision to change.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Zul. And Jared, if this answers your question, just gives us a thumbs up so that we know that Zul has answered your question. And of course, if you think that there's something that in depth that you want to ask, do feel free to ask us. And thank you, Jared, for the excellent question. Zul, we have another question. A question from Muarsat. Thanks, Muarsat. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. So Zul, with the current economic climate, how do you continue with your business?
Hi, Marcel. Right, that's a very good question actually. With the current economic climate, yeah, everybody knows that the current economic climate, especially for SMEs or even retail, is not really a very good climate for us at this point of time. But as we move on, I think it's more of an adaptation. So for now, we don't operate in a brick and mortar. So it's more to an online presence as of now. So everything is currently moving towards a structured online platform where sales are done there. Even for marketing, it's all done there rather than just a brick and mortar. So that's how for us for Fabriques Asia, how we keep ourselves afloat during this economic climate.
And what about in the financial planning industry? I mean, financial services. Do you find it difficult, out there?
It's a little struggle, but nevertheless, it's with technologies. We can still meet clients via online. We can make arrangement with clients via Zoom platform. So it's pretty much it's about for the financial
That's
for the
good.
financial industry, it's not so much of it's just a matter of rather than meeting face to face, it's just more of like online platforms.
Right. Abdul, do you mind if I actually, since Muhammad has an excellent question, do you mind if I actually share with him on what we actually discussed and are working on the creating visibility part?
No problem.
Yeah, Muhammad, I just share with you. I mean, this is a conversation I had with Zul, though it's better that Zul shared, but I thought I'll just take this moment. I think one of the key things that current business owners are facing is actually creating visibility for themselves, right? Because of the limitations instead of meeting people and going out there face to face and so on. So this is where I've been working with Zul and helping him out in creating visibility for positioning himself out there as an expert, what he does and everything. And one of the key things is actually also to be able to actually put himself out and at the same time his services through many channels. For example, one bit that we are working towards is actually to start his own live chat channel, where you put up there as an expert. So this is something that we can expect Zul to have soon.
Yes.
And it's great to have that, and we are working. So more that if you are an entrepreneur, I mean, you can just indicate if you are, then this is something that we can take offline if you are looking into that. I just wanted to highlight this. Morzat, I just also keep us informed whether if Zul has answered your question, give us a thumbs up. And just out of curiosity, are you also an entrepreneur? All right. Say again, sorry?
He's an ex-colleague.
Ex-colleague. Okay, all right. So ex-colleague. So is he still in the forces?
Yes, he is.
Okay, nice. All right, okay. Sadly, I'm not. Okay, no worries. You can always take a leap of faith if you want to. We can always have a discussion. Thanks, Morsat, for the excellent question. And I hope Zul managed to answer your question. And with that, now we have another question here. That is it true that behind every successful man is a supportive woman? In this case, Sally, right? Your Mrs. She's your co-director. For supporting you in your endeavors, right? Because you have Fabriques Asia, you are working with her, and I believe she's now running the operations there while you are focusing more on the financial industry. So maybe you want to, tell a bit more on that.
Right. I think at this point of time, I'd say thank you to Sally for being very supportive when I decided to make this decision. She's been very supportive. She didn't really question me much when I decided to take that leap of faith. In fact, she supported me all the way, and she was in a way that what she says was whatever makes me happy, she will follow through and support it through and through to the end. So yeah.
And with this question that Iskandar asked, right, Zul, even in my personal experience, I think if we are married and, do you think it's important? I know definitely it is important that we have the support of our spouse, their understanding, because I think as an entrepreneur, I think it's a very lonely journey and it's not an easy journey, right? It's a sexy word. Everybody wants to call themselves an entrepreneur, but I think it's a very tough journey. That's why only 1% of the total population becomes an entrepreneur. So I think in this case, do you think it is important to have the support and the understanding of our spouse when we are embarking onto an entrepreneurship journey?
Yes, definitely. I think one of the key things to have their support is communication. They may not. I mean, for Sally, I'm very lucky and thankful that she understands as she's running the business, so she understands the journey as an entrepreneur. I think for partners and spouse who are not an entrepreneur, they may not understand the struggles and the journey that we are going through. So the key factor, I think it will be pretty much communication, sharing about what the struggles that we're going through. Sometimes, as you said, it's a very lonely journey. And with someone knowing that someone is there to support us, by just sharing what we go through, we may not expect them to understand. We may not expect them to put in to take the leap of faith to join you, but it's just something that will make you feel easier and for them to understand you better and to support you and emotionally and also physically as a spouse.
Right. And so, on the behalf of, Bettery Hub Channel, as well as, being an entrepreneur myself, I would like to give a big shout out to Sally back home. Thank you so much, Sally, if you are hearing us or hearing me. that thank you so much for being and the great support for Zul, and we expect to see much more from him. And Iskandar, thank you for that excellent question. We'll move on. Oh yes, we have Raghu who said spouse support is important. He's like my ATM. Yeah, at the times where you need, right? The backup ATM where things go wrong. You always need them. Thanks, Raghu. I mean, I do agree. I mean,
Yeah, I agree too.
and I'm sure a lot of the entrepreneurs out there, when you think about your startup journey, you'll realize that sometimes the support of our spouse for the married guys and ladies out there, right, it's very important when we are starting up. Thanks, Raghu. Thanks for this very important insight that you just highlighted to us. All right, and we'll move on. Zul, now that we talk about that, let's talk about your initial experience. Anything that you want to share, when you just transited, when you left, anything that you want to share with us that you think was like an experience that you will never forget, or it made you feel that, hey, this is something that is going to be bringing me, or is something that I will hold for a longest time as an entrepreneur.
I think in the early stages of the transition, one thing that I will never forget is firstly the support from my wife, which I cannot thank her enough, and I'm really grateful for that. The emotional support, even sometimes like Raghu said, the financial support during our times of needs. I think, and secondly was one of the things that kept me going was actually being convicted to my vision. I shared this in my Instagram platform actually. The three things which actually kept me going was actually conviction, passion, and also the value. So I kept my end goal in sight. I had my conviction. I know the passion and the purpose of my journey, and also the value of why I'm doing this transition, which kept me going to where I am today.
Yep. And just to add on to this, for the first question, Zul, I think you'll be a happy man today, because I think your number one point was your spouse, right, Sally? So I think you'll have a peaceful day today. And she'll be really happy. Congratulations, you made the right decision. And of course, the number two, I think, is always about the why, right? Because when we hit roadblocks, when we have those challenges, I think it's always going back to the why. Why did I start in the first place? I think this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs out there will resonate with, right? It's like, why did I start? Especially when the going gets tough. So, all right, thanks. And Zul, what were the challenges that you faced, transiting from uniform to wearing a suit today?
I think the transition is, I would say, it'll be a lie to say that the transition is actually a walk in the park. There would definitely be a lot of struggles and challenges, emotionally, financially. I think the few challenges that I faced initially was actually in terms of adaptation. Over 10 years of in service in uniform, and suddenly I'm able to live life the way I want it, how I want it, and how I want to work for myself. Yeah, it's one thing is about it's also adaptation to the lifestyle, and also adaptation to with the family. The family was, I would say that my parents were a bit having the old school mindset, but they came to terms that they actually I was able to share with them my passion, my conviction, and my values, why I'm doing this, and yeah, it works out fine in the end.
All right. And I think this is something that I would like to actually just share and also resonate that now out there, for those of you who are looking into having this idea of becoming entrepreneurship, the reality is we don't want to put any rosy picture. I'm sure a lot of you, including Zul, I could see the smile. The reality is this: entrepreneurship journey. It's not an easy one. I remember that. When I was in the forces as well, I used to have a lot of time spent, and then I came back and I thought, wow, I got no, the common word that was used, right? No work-life balance. But as an entrepreneur, especially when you are doing a startup at the initial time, I think it's a lot of time. We spend a lot of time to build our business and everything. Of course, the benefits, we reap the benefits at the later stage once we have the foundation. So I think these are sacrifices and challenges that we have to face, is what Zul said. Right. And Zul, just one more question that I have in terms of your challenges, right? I think earlier we had this question, right? In current times, pandemic situation, a lot of people are having. I mean, I'm not saying there are some businesses that are really striving. Some of them pivoted because they know there is time to change. So in your case, right? Let's talk about the financial industry. So currently, is this something that you actually go forward? Because I think there are a lot of businesses out there, like what you say, you work with a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs as well. Do you actually go forward to actually approach them to help them in terms of what they can do and how you can help them in terms of your knowledge in the financial industry? Is this something that you do?
Yes, definitely. I mean, in terms of as a professional in the financial service, my main goal is actually to help. That's the one of the very big reason why I made that leap of faith. So coming from also a business owner myself, knowing the struggles that they actually go through as a financial service professional, I think, I mean, it's one of the things that I would do. I will go to them. I would approach business owners in terms of to assist them with their financial arrangement. I mean, to reach their financial goals at the end of the day.
And Zul, I got to interrupt here to just tell this. It could be a misconception or it is what people have. Now, for those of you out there, the viewers out there, if you agree with me, just give me a thumbs up or just say yeah. Usually we have this stereotype thinking, right? That if a financial planner come to you, definitely he's trying to make a sale. He's trying to sell me a product. He's going to come there and So in times like this, when you approach business owners, do you have people who do you actually go there and tell them, hey, you need this particular product, or it is about giving them solutions? What is your approach?
Okay, definitely not. That one thing for sure. My practice is I'm not a product peddler. I'm not here to shove you or sell you products. What's current in the market or what's new in the market. So my is for myself as a professional in the financial service industry, it's more of an experiential journey for our one-stop integrated financial service to help them to achieve their financial goals. So I would rather understand your goals and needs and achieve them assist them in achieving their goals within their means, rather than just selling them products. It's more of a journey rather than just product selling.
Right. And Zul, you were talking about the biggest challenge, right, from being in the police, and then you decided to start an entrepreneurial journey, and your entrepreneurial journey is just about your Fabriques Asia, where it's about retail, about clothing, but you came to an industry that you are not familiar with, right? Financial industry. I mean, we are all familiar with finances. We are all familiar because it's not completely alien to us. But you decide to embark onto it. So how the transition like? Because you are talking about this Life by Design internship kind of a program that helped you to tide over. Because I think how useful was this? Maybe you want to highlight this because we had this conversation during the earlier time when we were preparing for this live chat. You were sharing about this Life by Design program. Maybe you want to tell us so the viewers may have some ideas on this.
Okay, Life by Design program is I would say it's a well-structured program which progressively, I would say, it assisted me with my mid-career switch transition. So it's very comprehensive. It's with its content to ensure that even though coming from a totally different background without any prior experience in the financial industry, the content and the accessibility to the program itself. For example, some of the program's contents are available online, so I'm able to access it as and when I will need a refresher, as and when even when I'm outside, I'm having a coffee, I can still catch up with what I needed in order to keep myself equipped and prepared to be for the transition through this Life by Design program.
Right, and is it a paid program or it's just a program to help you to transit over to the financial industry? Just to check.
It helps to transit to the financial.
So it's not something like you register for the program or it's a paid program, right? It's just like for those who do. Okay, cool, all right. And maybe you want to share with us some takeaways from this program that help you to transit faster. Maybe one or two pointers that help you to maybe fasten your learning curve.
I think the two factors which I take away from these two programs, from the program itself, is one is, like I said earlier, the accessibility for its online training, the accessibility of contents to help with the transition, and also is mentorship. The mentorship really helps me in times of when there's doubts and everything. It clarifies all my queries or certain struggles which I was facing through, in order to understand the concept. It really helps.
All right. And so for those of you out there who want to know more about Life by Design program or the internship program, I believe, just feel free to contact Zul and ask more. Now, Zul, let's go to the next part. Let's talk about our clients, right? I mean, any business owner, I think our number one key focus should be wowing and taking care of our clients. So, what can your clients expect from your services?
Okay, like I mentioned, it's an experiential journey. So it's from our one-stop integrated financial service. It was to help you to achieve your financial goals. As a financial service professional, I would want to understand, rather than just selling you what I think is best in the market. I would rather understand your goals and your needs and assist you in achieving your goals within your means, rather than burning you in the pocket. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm trying to help you financially, not trying to make you become broke. So therefore, I mean, I have products, but these products are merely just tools for me to help you to achieve your goals.
Right. And you actually do help people to actually do wills and
yes,
and
the services is more than just like you mentioned, wills. We also have personal risk management. There will be wealth accumulation, investments, and so on. Yeah. If you want to know more, just drop me a message.
Right. And Zul, just another question. I think this is a common thing, right? People think that when you're in the financial industry, you actually employ staff to a specific insurance company or company. But here we are talking about entrepreneurship. So maybe you want to explain, is financial planning actually an entrepreneurship journey where you are running your own business, or you actually employed by a company?
We are not employees. I would say that it's like you said, it's an entrepreneurship journey. We are entrepreneurs. We provide services on our own, rather than being a staff or an employee for a particular company. We just provide our services under the name of the company, but
like a franchise. You take their brand and okay. And Zul, just one more question. Interestingly, again, I had this challenge. Maybe I'll share in a bit to the viewers about what I had. But when you were transiting and then you came into the financial industry, right? And you are not just a salesperson, like as what you said. You're not just there selling products and everything. You're not a product peddler, okay, right? But the thing is that when you talk about entrepreneurship, it's about having the business acumen, right? And I know it's quite tough that being in an employed job where you are serving the nation, you are police, you are uniform, you have certain job scopes, and then to be here, right? How did you actually build your business acumen? To think like an entrepreneur. I'm sure there's some time and certain level of exposure that you require. So how do you do that? Because initially you were talking about meeting and already talking to a lot of professionals, entrepreneurs out there. So what is the specific thing that our viewers can take note of if they are looking into this?
I would say it's about creating your visibility and letting yourself be known out there. When I was back in the force, of course, no one really knows me until I made the switch. So upon making the switch, even in my early phase of the journey as an entrepreneur, it takes a while for me to actually build myself up, to create the visibility around me, to make myself be known out there.
Right. And we got a message from Raj. Hi, Raj. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you. Congratulations to Shakti. Thank you. And guest speaker Zul. the minority communities like the Indian and Malay community are still playing catch up in the wealth accumulation space, which is very true. There are many much more things that we can definitely be of assistance, especially for Zul. So sharing by Zul, hopefully Zul, you motivate them to pay attention. I think you have a big job to do.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Okay, we got a question from Raj. Question to Shakti and Zul. Who are your entrepreneur heroes that you try to emulate? It's a question for both the host and the guest. Thanks, Raj. Okay, so Zul, it's always good for the host to ask the guest, are you ready or you want me to answer?
Why did you go first?
Okay, Raj, maybe I'll take on because, now for me, I actually look at two people. I look up to two key people. One of them, of course, is Richard Branson. I look up to him because I believe that we need to live life by our own terms, right? And there's a certain way of, some people in the industry as an entrepreneur work. And I think that we can take the ownership and do things as we want. So Richard Branson is somebody I look up to in terms of as an entrepreneur, all right? He's one of them. Now, locally, we talk about regionally. Now, another person that I look up to is actually, now surprisingly, I'm not in the airline industry, but is Tony Fernandez. I look up to him because I like the way he shows his leadership character. Transformational leadership. He pivoted Air Asia, the way he branded it as a from a budget airline to the airlines to be. So Tony Fernandez, regionally. Of course, there are a lot of other people within our own Singapore itself, but I think these are the two key people who have really influenced me that I always look up to emulate, because I think their scope or their way of leading their company and business is more making an impact to others rather than just profit and loss. And I think that's something that's very close to me. All right, Zul.
For myself, I think very first one would be Warren Buffett. Yeah, and pretty much.
Yeah. Iskandar says, are you going to use him as an example?
Yes, I would say locally, is one of the guys that I would look up to when it comes to seeking advice in terms of financial on running as an entrepreneur for both financial services and even my Fabriques Asia. Thank you.
Right. Wow, Iskandar, I think awesome. So maybe you can, since Iskandar, you look up to Iskandar, maybe you can explain a bit more, because like what I talk about Tony Fernandez and Richard Branson, maybe you want to talk a bit more on Iskandar, how specifically he helped you. Maybe one thing.
I would say Iskandar is a very straightforward person. So whenever I seek advice or assistance from Iskandar, I always have to be prepared to receive feedback. I won't say harsh, but direct feedback from him on how things should or prefer to be done, rather than going taking the other options. Yeah, I would say that he's like so-called the devil's advocate. Yeah, but it's actually a hard truth which actually helps me along the journey. Yeah. Thank you, Iskandar.
Okay, all right. In my personal conversations with Iskandar, I will say in a very blunt manner, he's a no-nonsense guy, and that's kind of people you need, right? When you're talking about getting proper feedback, blunt, direct to the point. When I give you a feedback, make sure you take action. If not, don't bother me again. All right. And thanks, Iskandar. And Raj, thank you for that excellent question. Thank you so much. I think you made me, reflect upon, who is the hero that I'm trying to emulate. I think it's always important to remind ourselves. So thank you, Raj, once again. And I hope that answered your question. Now, we'll move on. Let's talk about failures, right? I think one of the key things that I realized when I talk to a lot of people out there, when especially LifeWorks program, is that people don't take action because they have this element of fear of failure, fear of not achieving their goals, like what you say, right? Will I be able to sustain financially? There's a lot of fears, right? So like, in fact, I just give you another example, is that when I call a lot of people out on the live show, some of them say, I am quite scared to come out on live and everything. So I think there's always this thing. So Iskandar, do you agree that failures are the best teachers as an entrepreneur? And is there any example that you have to share?
I would say, as an entrepreneur, one thing I learned is, it's cliche, but there are no failures. It's either you succeed or you learn. When we fail, we take things with a pinch of salt and take a step back to see how they can be improved. I mean, like I said earlier in the during our sharing, is that I held on to my dad's advice. I tried to put myself in the customers or the clients' shoes to understand where they're coming from. So each time there's a rejection, I will just take a step back with a pinch of salt and say, where did I go wrong, and how can I do it better the next time? So yes, in a way, failures are the best teachers. It helps us to be better and push us further in the industry.
Right. And now time just passed, right? We were just talking and talking, and now it's like 40 plus minutes and so much things. So now we have come to the rapid questions round. Now this is my most favorite round where I'm going to actually give you a few questions. And Zul, you just say the answers, whatever that comes into your mind.
Okay.
All right. And for the viewers, just to be clear that whatever questions I'm going to ask Zul, he does not know what I'm going to ask. So it's going to be questions that he's going to be new to him, right? So, Zul, you ready? Sorry, I called you Iskandar earlier. So I was talking about Iskandar and I called you Iskandar. So, Zul, you ready?
Okay, I guess.
Okay, let's talk about the first question now. What do you want to be remembered for?
Wow, good question. As an entrepreneur, I think I would want to be remembered in this line of. As a professional in a financial service, I want to be remembered for being there for the people around me when I'm needed, for my families, my friends, even for my clients. As someone who walks the journey with them to achieve their goals, rather than just a salesman who's trying to sell them. That's what I want to be remembered for.
Right, making an impact to them and the legacy that you want to leave behind.
I think the legacy would be to be a successful entrepreneur who is ever ready to assist the people around me to achieve their financial goals. Yeah.
All right. And now, what do you see Zulkifli in the next 5 years?
Well, okay. I think in the next 5 years, I dream to build my own team of aspiring leaders who would actually share the same belief as me and the same conviction as me to live life by design and to share that vision and to empower people around that life is more than just a 9-to-5 job, and you can actually succeed in doing things that you love and be happy and be successful with it.
Cool. And now, your biggest challenge?
I think my biggest challenge was actually taking that leap of faith, transiting from the uniform to a suit. Yeah, that was my biggest challenge. It took me a while, but eventually I got down to it. Yeah.
All right. And all right, I will spare you the agony. And this is your last rapid round question. Your greatest achievement?
I think the greatest achievement was also my biggest challenge. To take that first step and start living life by my own design. I think it's the greatest achievement for me at this point in time.
All right. Thank you. Abdul, you managed to answer these questions quite comfortably. I think the next time the guest comes in, I'm going to hold a stopwatch, and then I'm going to give that TikTok sound so that they are more pressure. I think the whole idea is to actually give you that element of pressure to see whether are you stable in a situation where under pressure. All right, we have a comment from Iskandar. Hi Iskandar, and you have known Zul for over a year now, and you find that his greatest strength is empathy, his determination to do well in everything he does, and quite confident. Keep up the great work, Zul, and the world is your oyster.
Thank you so much, Iskandar. It really means a lot to me.
All right, thank you, Iskandar. I think I'm sure that means a lot, and I've always looking forward for such encouraging comments from people out there. All right, thank you, Iskandar, once again. And now let's go over any word of advice for our viewers who are currently also looking to implement their passion into action, whether it's entrepreneurship or anything else. Any word of advice?
I think I would leave with the question which started me to make the transition. What is the price of your dream? your conviction, your passion, and your value are there. Are they really? Are you convicted enough to make the move? Are you passionate enough, or are you valued where you are to continue whatever you're doing? I think there will be never a time to go after what you want than now itself. If you continue to wait around, I guess there will never be a right time. In fact, for myself, it was not an overnight decision. It took me a while before I actually decided and actually to put it into action. Yeah. So if you're gonna keep saying I will do it in times to come, it will never come. So yep. If you wanna know more, just drop me a message or just DM me on LinkedIn.
Cool. And if let's say they're going to DM me or drop you a message, how can they contact you via your LinkedIn and your mobile?
Yep, sure. You can drop me a message in LinkedIn or that's my contact number. You can just drop me a message.
Cool. So those of you who want to actually have a chat with Zul or you want to contact him and ask him about his journey, how he actually transited, I think you can contact him through his mobile or, just through LinkedIn. Time just flew past. Zul, thank you so much. And if there's one thing that I enjoy talking to you is that, I like your calm and your composure going, very calmly. I think this is something that I really enjoyed. Thank you so much, Zul.
Thank you for having me too.
Yes, it was a pleasure, especially, for you to share from your heart. And I'm looking forward to have coffee with you soon so that we can chat more.
We will definitely. Right.
All right. Thank you, Zul. So we'll catch up. All right.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, awesome session with Zul. Now, there's something that I would like to say, while Zul was sharing on the last part where, he was sharing to our viewers, right, word of advice. Now, this is a personal experience that I had, with my dad. My dad passed on 2 years ago. And when I had a chat with him, he told me that, a person's biggest regret is not things that he have done, but things that he always wanted to do, but never took action. Now that hit me hard, and I always kept it close to my heart. So, if you are somebody who looking into, pursue any kind of passion that you have, whether it's becoming a musician or whether it's being an entrepreneur, anything, all right, take a step forward, talk to the people who've been there, who have done that, ask advice. And with my experience, I can tell you that there are people out there, successful people are always willing to help people who are hungry and have the desire to do something. So take your time to more. And in today's context, when all of us are conditioned to be on social media, especially in LinkedIn platform, for example, look for the right people and ask questions and engage them. I'm sure they are more than willing to help. Like I'm receiving help every single day whenever I have any doubts, So with that, thank you so much. Now, once again, just a reminder, all right, for those of you who have joined us, whether it's in YouTube or on Facebook or LinkedIn platform, do remember to subscribe or connect with us and like us. And in another 3 days' time, we will actually have this podcast up on our Spotify. So look forward for this episode to be on Spotify under Bettery Hub Podcast. And with that, thank you so much. And of course, no live chat is complete without you. All the viewers, thank you for the awesome questions for the likes of Raj and the rest of you guys. Iskandar, thank you so much. And thank you for spending your time with us. It means a lot to us. And please do leave your comments and your feedback in any of the platform they are watching. Please do that so that we can consistently do better just for you. I think that's something that we take very seriously, and we want to make sure that we are consistently doing that. And we have Raghu. Thank you, Raghu, for joining us, and thank you so much. And now with that, remember, do keep taking action and keep doing it better. And remember to stay safe. And with that, till next week, see you again. Before we go, we have another person, Amitabh. Thank you, Amitabh. Thank you so much for joining us. And you'll be the last viewer that I'm going to showcase today. So thank you, Amitabh. We really, a big thank you to all our viewers. All right. With that, see you guys next week. Next week, Thursday, we have another awesome guest coming up. And as I said, please leave your feedback so we can continually improve. With that, see ya.